Hello friends, not naked and just wearing a pink shirt here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of Dota Alchemy, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at my boy, EG Sumail, playing the Disco Pony himself, Leshrac versus OG. Originally, I was going to do an RTC Terrorblade video because everybody rants and raves about how he's the best Terrorblade on the planet, which I do agree, but then I saw the Leshrac pickup, and I'm actually making a Leshrac guide right now. I absolutely love the hero. I think it's busted, so we're going to take a look at how Sumail plays it. So Sumail starts with the pretty typical mid-starting items where you just buy these items and build into 2 null talismans eventually and you get pooled 2 tangos. He runs mid to try and place a ward, but then he runs into Topson, and what he does next is pretty cool. So Crit stands on the high ground and then Sumail faces the direction where it looks like he's going to possibly ward there. And then he control clicks the ward to Crit on the high ground. So now Crit has the ward, but it looks like to OG, if they had a ward here, if they have any vision, that Sumail placed the ward right here. So this is just in case they see him. They're going to de-ward right here, and they're not going to get a ward because Crit actually has the ward. Sumail blocks the lane, doesn't fight the early bounty rune, and skills Lightning Storm first. He buys a salve immediately when he gets the gold for it, but he does not send the courier until he has the null talisman complete as well, and then he sends the courier out. He uses the Lightning Storm to secure CS on the range creeps in particular and harass Topson as well. So every time he uses the Lightning Storm, he'll get a couple of right clicks onto Topson as well, just because of the slow. Then he skills Split Earth, so this is not a typical Leshrac build from what you would see right now. Usually people will max the Edict, but Sumail actually goes 3 points in Split Earth, 2 points in Lightning Storm because the mana cost increases by quite a lot, so I think he just wants the 2 points for the setup of the stun for the damage, and then he goes Pulse Nova at level 6. And the way that he plays this lane is, like I said, he uses his spells to secure CS. He'll even use the Split Earth to secure CS, and I think he tries to bait Topson, where Topson's going to go for a last hit, and then maybe he'll try to use the Split Earth, or maybe Topson's about to go for a deny, and then he'll use the Split Earth on top of that. So this basically puts Topson in this mentality. So you can see that he's pump faking the stun a lot. This puts Topson in this mentality where he has to be really careful going for last hits and denies. See how he misses that? Because he's afraid that Sumail's going to stun him. So this is costing no mana, and it's still securing CS in the lane, or at least denying Topson CS in the lane, just by virtue of spamming this out and then also pump faking it. So because Sumail is constantly pushing out the lane with the Lightning Storm and Split Earth, this allows him to secure basically every rune. I would assume that he's trying to push out the lane on these timings in particular if he can to get the runes. And then when he gets the rune, he plays extremely aggressively on Topson, where it's like, okay, if you step up and try to get a last hit, I'm going to use my spells on you, use the haste rune, and maybe kill you. And at the very least, if Sumail gets ganked, after he'll just use the rune and he'll be fine. So he uses all of his spells on Topson. When he walks up, Topson has to bottle up, and Topson comes up and goes for a greedy last hit, uses his spells. So this causes Sumail to dive like a madman, kills Topson, and he gets away. So that's basically Sumail saying, okay, you know what, you called my aggression and you thought that I was bluffing, so I'm going to show you that I'm not bluffing. And this forces the rotation. And he actually does this a couple of times throughout this laning stage. Sumail is one of the few players that doesn't just push out the lane and then go jungle. What he does is he'll push out the lane, go get a rune, and then he'll be extremely aggressive with whatever hero he's playing. He's basically this guy that really just likes styling on people. So it's very clear in his play, and I think that it's a higher risk because you have to outplay the person to kill them, but it's obviously a much higher reward because he is completely destroying Topson. And once again, Topson uses his spells to get some greedy last hits, so Sumail tries to punish him. Unfortunately, because of this aggression, like I said, high risk, high reward, Sumail does end up dying. In fact, he gets tipped by Seb right before dying. However, that is 3 rotations that Sumail has forced in the last 2 minutes of gameplay. So this is obviously incredibly game-winning when we have an RTZ Terrorblade that is going to be free farming now, and then an offlaner that's also going to be free farming. So at a certain point, the king starts occupying this jungle area up here next to this top lane that he wants to gank in. So this is a really important note that he's not showing on this top lane. He's not farming the top lane. He's letting Fly take this lane, and instead Sumail's taking the jungle. So the reason that he's in this jungle is because Terrorblade is farming the triangle and getting some catch-up farm right now. So I say catch-up farm, but he's actually doing okay. Anyway, Arteezy's farming over here in the triangle, so Sumail wants to kind of mirror his movements on the opposite side of the map because Sumail is the space creator right now. He's the ganker. In fact, if you could look up and see past all of the voice lines and taunts that OG has done, they actually have been saying Sumail is missing, Leshrac is missing, and the reason for that is because he's not showing. So this is exactly why he's jungling next to this area instead of just appearing up in that lane, because he's keeping OG on their toes, he's making space for his team by not showing. And then I believe the PA shows top, so they go for a gank, PA dies, so this is kind of teaching Ana that if you show in a lane, Leshrac is going to be there. PA starts playing scared. And then Sumail goes back to jungling. So he does this for quite some time. I think that if this is a pub, you probably just angle to take this tower after killing somebody, especially the PA. But because it's OG that they're playing against, it's very likely that they're like, okay, we'll get these tier 1s, but we'll just do it when we make a 5-man smoke rotation. You're not really going to get a tier 1 off of a single gank, unless you think that you're really strong, if you have like a mechanism timing or something like that. But if this was a pub, you would take this tower, definitely. But Sumail just goes back to the same playstyle, where he jungles in an area and then ganks the lane nearest to that area. So Sumail builds a plate mail because he's against a bunch of physical damage. Eul Scepter is the first item that he built because the movement speed is great. It's the most cost-efficient mana regen item in the game, and it's a good save for Leshrac. So the way that he enters into team fights, in my opinion, is very important. So he walks in and he uses the Edict first. This is a much longer range than any of the other abilities, and if you die or if you're Euled or whatever, it's going to keep ticking. So you want to essentially use this first, especially because it does physical damage. And if you have like a Pango rolling, which is happening, he's taking some damage. And then when he walks into the fight, he toggles on the Pulse Nova and then uses the other spells. And you could see that he's saving the Eul Scepter for potentially the Pangolier coming through, or you know, just killing somebody with the Eul Scepter running away when he actually needs it. Because that's the thing with this hero, is a lot of people walk in and they just use the Euls and then stun, but he's like a walking blender. You just pop Edict, walk into a fight with Pulse Nova on, and then the enemy team dies. And they'll all crowd around you and try to kill you, and that's when you Eul Scepter. Or you use it at the end to chase somebody or stop somebody from using some sort of mobility ability, or to like purge the Oracle Fate's Edict or something like that. One important thing to note about this game is that anytime Sumail sees something like this happening on the map where his team is getting ganked, he immediately leaves the jungle and goes to a lane and uses Diabolic Edict on towers. And you can see how fast he melts this tower. So at the very least, he's getting something from this. And then he's actually going to force OG back by being here. Or OG is going to have to make a trade, which I'm sure is fine if you're OG. You know, you kill Arteezy, you can potentially pressure high ground. However, Sumail has gotten 2 towers in this time. And mid lane, we have our boy here, Crit, also Raxing. So this is a pretty good trade, and it's all because Sumail exited the jungle when something was happening, and he ran straight down a lane knowing that either the enemy team had to back off and kill him, which is bad because they could have Raxed, or they had to lose 3 towers and possibly a Rax. So you're forcing the enemy team to choose between 2 awful choices. The way this game ends is kind of anticlimactic, to be honest. Essentially, Ana just gets sheeped in this fight here. No buyback, dies. EG heads down mid. OG kind of tries to defend half-heartedly. And then they all die and the game ends. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I do appreciate it. If you want more stuff like this, please mention that in the comments. And if you want me to, you know, cover something different, like let's say you want me to look at a team fight, you want me to look at, I don't know, courier usage, whatever little nuance you want me to look at, I can definitely take a look at that for you. So anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video.